everyone in Butte has a nickname. It's just a thing that happens. I assume it's still a thing that happens. It's a thing that happened 20 years ago. And yeah, of course I've got one too. I'm the kid. I got it years ago when I was a kid. I was like, I don't know, 19, 20. People started calling me the kid. I don't think they meant it as a nickname really. But I was always just, the kid or that one kid does such and so. Well, it's kind of gotten funny now because I don't really seem to age the way a normal human being does. So being called the kid still kind of stuck, even though I'm 38 years old now, which is kind of funny. But a result of that is that some people have occasionally asked me, how do you keep young? I used to think that it was just an inherent thing. It's like, well, the same way I have brown hair, but there does seem to be more to it than that. That period I talked about in the last video, the 8 years when I wasn't living my life correctly, because I wasn't being a correct me, because I was shoving aside all the things that I thought were frivolous and pointless, and they turned out to be the most important things in my life. I aged during that period. And I don't often. But yeah, it wore on me a little bit, and I got a little older, so I've thought a lot about that question. How do you keep young? Well, the usual unsurprising answers are still true. Exercise is very important. Eating right is a good idea. But more than that, I think it has to do with outlook. I've met people that into their 70s and 80s were still young. And the way they did it, and in hindsight how I do it too, is keeping a sense of being young, keeping a sense of wonder. See, children are curious. They're curious about everything. They want to know what every button does. They want to know what everyone's talking about all the time. They want to know how things are done and how things are made. And I think one of the defining differences between a child and an adult is that children do have that sense of wonder, and adults don't. Adults stop wondering about things. In Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium, which is a fabulous movie, by the way, I recommend it, there was a line in there that really stuck with me. The story is about this crazy, magical guy, pretty stereotypical for movies of that genre, who runs a toy store, a magical toy store. And he's got an assistant who knows all about him, and then there's this guy that's like an accountant or something that comes in and tries to fix everything, make it reasonable and practical. You've seen this scenario in movies before, and it goes just the way it should. There's nothing new in the plot, but there was this one line in there which I was really taken with when the assistant girl looks at this new straight man and says, you know what you are? You're a just guy. It's just a rainbow. It's just an ocean. It's just a sunset. I think that's what makes people into adults, is when they become just people. And that's something I never did. I look at things around me, and I don't see them as things. I see them as, well, looky here. We got this wrought iron fence here. I think about wrought iron fences a lot. It comes out of iron ore. We dig it out of the ground. We smelt it into metal. And it's not just iron. There's other stuff in there too. That gets me to thinking about metallurgy and all the things that came together to make this stuff, specifically wrought iron. And then it had to be shaped and put here. This isn't actually literally wrought iron, by the way. This is fake wrought iron, which is another interesting thing. There's a lot of interesting things there. And that's just what I happened to be passing by at the time. Over here we got this zinc-coated steel stuff. What's that called? Galvanized steel. We've got asphalt. Romans would have killed to get their hands on a secret like asphalt, like the fact that we still can't make Roman concrete today. And then we've got the snow, which looks awful right now. And lots of people hate snow because they live in Butte where there's always snow. I still see a fascination in it. It's still crunchy and stuff. And look, if you get up close, you see these crystals and stuff? That's from the hoarfrost because it was foggy this morning. I love hoarfrost. It's so amazing. Then you got more trees up there. You got bricks that were fired somewhere. And then you got cars. Now these things are just crazy. You've got like the engine block, which is made out of metal, and it gets cold at night. But then you start it up, and within a couple of minutes it heats up to like 2,000 degrees, and then you drive it to wherever it was, and then if it's a cold day, it cools back down to 20 below, and then it heats back up to 1,000 degrees again, and it doesn't break. What's up with that? Tires, modern tires. You know how much work went into those? Those would be worth millions and millions of dollars just 100 years ago. Then there are these crows. Don't even get me started on crows. They're amazing creatures. Hi, crows! I'm just coming through, don't mind me. So, I think that's what keeps me young. That when I see things, I don't see the thing itself, I see where it came from. When I see paper on the street, I think of the tree that grew that cellulose that was ground into wood pulp and made into paper. There's a whole history there. When I see metal, I think about where it came out of the ground. A lot of the stuff in Butte probably came out right here. And plastic, made out of oil, you say. How does that work?